Hey guys, how you doing? I wanted to make a little review video for your geometry this week for math. For the first 3 days, I've assigned 2 pages of our practice test for Unit 6, and I thought since we usually do the practice test together, we would try to do the same thing just in different houses. So what I have here is page 1 of the Unit 6 review test. I'm going to do it with you. You can either just listen to review, or if you've been able to print up these pages or get a scratch piece of paper, you can do the answers sort of on your own or along with me, whichever way works best for you. So we are in geometry. And number 1 asks us to write the letter for each shape in the box that describes the shape. So we have 4 categories: quadrilaterals, parallelograms, 4 right angles, and all sides that are the same length. Now, some of these will go into multiple categories. So the first one is quadrilateral. I want you guys to be thinking about that prefix, quad. Quad means 4. So I'm going to put a 4 right here to remind myself. When I look at A, B, C, and D, all of these shapes have 4 sides. So that means that I can put every letter into the quadrilateral box. So I'm going to write letter A, B, C, and D. They all fit the quadrilateral characteristics because they have 4 sides. Parallelograms. For some reason, I always think of these double L's. It gives me like a little hint. A parallelogram is a shape that has 2 sides that are parallel, or opposite sides that are parallel. So, for example, in A, you can see here is a side, the top and the bottom. Those are parallel, meaning that if I stretched them all the way across, they would never ever touch. They could go all the way across the country and they would never touch. These are the other pair of opposite sides. And same thing, if we stretch these up, 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 or down, 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 those would never touch. So letter A, the square, has 2 sets of parallel sides. So I'm going to write A in my parallelogram category. When I look at B, I can tell that this side and this side, they are parallel. If I stretch the top and the bottom out, they will never touch. Those lines are parallel. However, when I look at the opposite sides, I can see that because these 2 are shooting down at kind of diagonals, they will eventually cross. So B doesn't fit. C, I can tell that if I look at my opposite sides, these 2 lines can stretch, stretch, stretch forever. And then if I look at these sides, they can also stretch and be parallel and never touch. So I'm going to say letter C also fits the parallelogram. Letter D, I can already see there are too many points that these sides are coming together with. They're just going to cross. There are actually no parallel sides at all in letter D. All right, 4 right angles. Let's check it out. Remember, this was a symbol that we use for a right angle. Squares are they're so nice to show us. 90 degrees. I'm going to put 90 degrees here to remind myself. I can already see that shape A, the square, has 4 right angles. Look at those other shapes. Think about if you think any of the other shapes, the other quadrilaterals, have 4 right angles. I don't see anything else. I'm going to leave letter A as the only shape that has 4 right angles. All right, and finally, all sides that are the same length. Go ahead right now, look at your 4 choices. That means that if you took a ruler and measured all the sides, which shape or shapes would measure all 4 sides the same length? I'll give you a second. You can write it down before I write it down and then see if you're right. I bet most of you got it. We know the characteristics of a square. One thing that makes it a square is all four sides are the same length. So we know automatically that A fits into that category. There's one more. I bet you guys wrote it already. You got it. Shape C. That also, even though it's tweaked a little, if we straightened it out, it would be a square, wouldn't it? But it's not straightened, but it still fits. All sides are the same length. All right, fantastic. Let's look at number 2. Draw 2 different parallelograms that are not squares or rhombuses. All right, so we talked about parallelograms. That's one of the keys that have 2 sets of parallel sides. Now, I can't draw a square, but I know a shape that is very similar to a square that could fit this. 2 sides of parallel, that is a parallelogram. Let's see what I'm going to draw. You can draw this one also if you like. Do you know what shape I just drew? That's a rectangle. Opposite sides, top and bottom, those lines are parallel. Opposite sides, those lines would be parallel as well. This is one shape that fits. It's not a square and it's not a rhombus. All right, we've got one more. See if you can make one. Draw one before I draw mine. All right, guys, I'm going to start mine. I always have a hard time with this shape. Not going to make a rhombus, not going to make a square, but I am going to make a parallelogram. And there it is. That's my second shape. Opposite sides, if those lines were extended for on and on and on and on, they would never touch. Same with these. Opposite sides, if they were stretched out on and on, they would never touch. So those are 2 shapes that are parallelograms. All right, I'm going to let you fill that part in. Tell me why you decided to draw those 2, or you may have different shapes. One of the main things that I want to say is that opposite sides are parallel. I'm not writing complete sentences, and that's okay if you aren't either. All right, I'll give you a second to fill that in, and then we're going to go ahead and flip it over to the back side. I'm going to take a moment and flip this while you're finishing up your answer. I'm working on the wall, so pardon the bumpiness, and thank you for waiting. Here is page 2. All right. So number 3 tells us Emily drew this figure. It asks us for the next 5 problems to choose yes or no to tell whether the name describes the figure. All right, let's give it a try. The first one says quadrilateral. Again, I want you guys thinking about that prefix, quad. Quad means 4. Does that shape have 4 sides? Fill your answer in now. I'm going to fill in a yes. As I look here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it does. All right, how about a rectangle? I hope you're able to answer this one pretty quickly. I bet you are. You got it. It is not. One of the things about a rectangle is that it should have 4 right angles. This shape does not have 4 right angles. It does not have 2 sides that are similar and the other 2, it has all 4 that are the same. Which takes us to the next one, actually. Parallelogram. We kind of just said it. It has all sides that are the same, and the opposite sides will be parallel, meaning that they will never touch. So yes, this fits the category of parallelogram. Rhombus. This one's always kind of tricky. Rhombus has at least one side of parallel sides, which we know this does because it's a parallelogram, and it has all 4 sides that are the same. So we're going to fill in yes. Part E. That one should be easy for you as well. It asks, is this shape a square? I hope that you very quickly answered no. Although all 4 sides are the same like a square, there are not 4 right angles. Kind of similar to the rectangle, so that's one of the giveaways that lets us know that that is not a square. All right, you guys, moving on. This is our last problem for today. Number 4 says, Mr. Gomez hangs a mural on the classroom wall. Find the perimeter and area of the mural. All right, so we know that we're talking about feet and square feet, and we know that we can count dot to dot. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to label my rectangle. I'm going to measure each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This side is 9 feet. As we've practiced, and this is a rectangle, if this side is 9 feet, then we know that this side must also be 9 feet. All right, let's measure our other sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. This side is 4 feet. If this side measures 4 feet, you know that this side must also measure, you got it, 4 feet. All right, perimeter is first. Perimeter is like a fence. We're going to add all 4 of the outside parts. I know 9 and 9 is 18, plus 4 more is 22, and 4 more, I'm going to let you do that math. I know you got 26 feet. Way to go. I just added all 4. I could even write this right here. 9 plus 9 plus 4 plus 4. Awesome. That's my outside. That's the perimeter. Area. That's the inside. That's the rug, right? If we were to make little squares, which I'm not going to do for all of them, I could do this. And then I could count up every single square. That would take so long. So we've been practicing this lovely equation that area equals length times width. Look at this. We've already got it measured. Length and width. This is a 9 by 4 or a 4 by 9. So I can make a multiplication equation for area. 9 times 4 or 4 times 9. You do the math. I'll give you a second. And 36 it is. 36 square feet. And we call it square feet because these are the little squares that we are counting. So that's the unit that we use right there. All right, you guys. Keep up the great work, and I'll see you for the next 2 pages tomorrow.